Hello, everyone, and welcome to Late Night with Monica Price. All the way from Nashville today. We're going back to Nashville tonight. Yay! And I've got the wonderful international hip hop artist Karim, who I actually met when I first went to Nashville in 2015. So he joins me tonight live from Nashville. Hi, Karim.
Monica, thank you for having me.
It's just such a joy to
Thank you.
see you. It
Always
really
a
is.
pleasure. Always a
Just a
pleasure.
joy, honestly. And how
Thank
is Nashville this evening? Is it all good over there? Well, it's the daytime,
you.
of course.
Yeah, now it's a nice day outside from my window.
Yeah.
I still work a regular job. I'm on my lunch break right now, so it's kind of
Yeah.
the juggling of
Yes. Well,
the passion and the thing that pays the bills.
it's what musicians do, Karim. But
You
honestly,
know,
I was thinking today, you were due to come over this year, and
yeah.
what's it been like, Karim, for you?
It was tough. I was just about to make the announcement to my audience and my fan base about my first tour. So my first tour, to imagine going to the UK across the pond, crazy, right?
Yeah,
So
we were so looking forward to having
you
you.
know,
Really were.
you you've been super supportive and Barry since day one, and I
Yeah.
was really excited. But sometimes life happens, and
Yeah.
a lot of people are affected by this pandemic, and hopefully once it's cleared up, I can come and we
Yeah.
can have some tea in person, and
Oh,
that's the
absolutely. A nice
more.
cup of tea.
Uh,
That's what you were wanting. We were
yes.
going to have a nice cup of
Yeah,
tea.
exactly,
But Karim,
exactly.
when I first met you, as I say, back in 2015,
Yeah,
Nashville is traditionally known for country music, of course, blues, jazz, but not really known so much for the hip hop. Now, you have a very interesting background. You have an Iraqi father, a Palestinian mother, and you
yeah,
lived in Iraq all the time when you were a baby, and then you moved to
yeah,
Tennessee when you were 5.
yeah.
So it must be really kind of, I know that when I first met you, you said, you just knew this was what you were meant to be doing, and you still feel the same, Karim.
Yeah. It's crazy because the more trials and tribulations that life sends, even through 2020, I'm like, man, this is gonna make some great music, or whatever I'm being tested with, or whatever I'm being faced with. I'm like, no matter how low I get, I think there's always a flicker of light inside, um, of resilience, that I'm like, man, something amazing must be coming, because the lower I go, the more the high I will be, I think. So luckily, I've held on to hope and resilience. And I'm a dreamer, so I like to think that, like, everything in life is a test, and everything gives us wisdom, and we learn, and hopefully we grow from everything. So
Yeah,
music saved my life multiple times,
yeah.
even
And that's,
recently.
I think that comes across in your music, Karim, because it's a very, it's that you are a hip hop artist, and even for me, I remember when I first met you, I hadn't seen or even thought about hip hop in Nashville, and
Yeah,
it was so refreshing, and to see you perform live as well, and the way that you engage with the audience, and just the way that you were with them, and they were with you, to be fair, was just
yeah.
an absolute delight to see, and you could see your passion coming through. It's almost like, Karim, you read poetry when you do your music.
Yeah, and I actually was, I wasn't the greatest in my school days, but even before I did music, I was super into poetry. I read poetry, I wrote poetry. I still do it sometimes here and there. But yeah, there's no feeling like being on stage and connecting with people, and just being vulnerable and pouring your heart and soul out, and just looking and seeing, like, people, you know rapping the words with me, or I've seen people cry, or people that come up to you after the show saying, like, wow, this song saved me. And it's like, I've been doing this for years now, and I'm still got a long way to go, but that never gets old. The fact that somebody else connects to something that's pouring out of my heart, and like I said, music saved me, and it's a way to connect with people, so I love it.
Yeah, and you've
Yeah,
openly, Karim, talked about mental health, your own mental health, and the
yeah,
impact that this has had on musicians and everybody's mental health. To be fair, and I wanted to talk to you about that, if I may, and just really to see how you were feeling, you know, are you okay at the moment? And really to say to you how lovely it is for you to speak about it, because I think that's really important, isn't it, to speak up about mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I've put on the back burner for years and years. And then, 2020 was tough for everyone. We're stuck at home. You can't socialize as much. I get fulfillment from shows. I get fulfillment even from going into work. And so I've been home for my job since March last year, and no shows since March. And I live alone. So all that kind of just combined with just everything, and it just forces you to face things. And if I'm just being honest, I found myself depressed. And I one of the days I just started having an anxiety attack, and I'd never had one before, and it was probably the scariest moment of my life. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't breathe. I was like in tears, and I didn't know what was going on, so I was freaking out even more. And I ended up calling an ambulance, and going to the hospital. And the doctor was saying, you have depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And it's kind of something I'm like, okay, I probably should have taken care of this and healed the past and healed myself years ago, but life kind of just chin checked me. It was like, now you have to do it. So
Yeah.
you have no choice. So, the next day I decided to, because I'm not into meds as much, nothing against that, but, I decided to do some research. And, I found a therapist. And, there's maybe a stigma around therapy or mental health, but you know what, like, at the end of the day, if you don't heal the past, if you don't heal your traumas, if you don't heal your present, it can ruin your future. So it was my responsibility to kind of, and I was scared, if I'm just being honest, I was scared. I'm still scared. I've been doing it for a month or two, and it just feels like you kind of re-break bones that never healed the right way. So it's scary, and it's brave at the same time. I'm learning ways to, you know just healthy ways and boundaries, and kind of just to love myself more, and be kind to myself more. I think I was just in a state of giving, 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 and you get so caught in that. And then, so when you start worrying about yourself, you feel guilty, but it's not wrong to care about yourself. So, um,
It's very true, Karim, and also, you said, you have to be kind to yourself, and as you, and
yeah,
it's really full credit to you. You've gone to somebody, you've sought help, and that's really important, isn't it? And
yeah.
yeah, I would suggest that you would say that to other musicians that are in the same position as you. Reach out to somebody. Do whatever really is going to benefit you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're taught to, like, the more you can handle,
Yeah,
you're strong, or what doesn't kill you makes you strong. But eventually you're like, okay, I need to figure this out before my life just flips and stuff. And as artists, we tend to feel intensely. Like, that's what makes my music. I always say it's my gift and my curse. I feel, when I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm sad, I'm so sad. My world's crumbling. When I'm, excited, I'm excited. But it's like, the thing that makes my music, that is also a curse in day-to-day life. So it's like, it's hard to deal with. And that's why I think a lot of creative people deal with depression and anxiety and suicide. And luckily I've never gotten to that point, because I caught myself, and I was like, okay, I need help. And it's strength to reach out for help. It's not strength to pretend it's not real, or pretend you're okay when you're not. And that's something I'm learning. I'm in the midst of it. Like, I'm not okay yet, but I know I'm fighting for a better Kareem, and a better day. And I have a lot to offer this world, and I owe
certainly
myself.
do, Kareem. You certainly do.
Uh,
And as you say,
yeah.
it takes a lot of courage. And is your music helping you, Kareem? Are you kind of pouring all these thoughts and feelings into words, into a song?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, after the hospital and after I started the therapy and stuff, and I was like, I started writing, because of course that's that's my
That's what you
therapy
do.
too.
Yeah.
That's where, anytime I'm heartbroken or sad or whatever's going on, and I started writing. And I got about 4 or 5 songs in. I even wrote a poem, And I noticed, like, a lot of these songs have similar theme. They're vulnerable. They talk about mental health, or they talk about sadness or struggling, but it's not of a victim mentality. It's like, it's a hope. I will get through this. I'm resilient. I'm fighting. And I noticed, and I was like, you know what? Like, I wasn't planning on putting out a project so soon. I was like, but if I think of a cool name, or if it feels right, I'm gonna record these, and I'm just gonna see how I feel after I record these. And you know, they fit so well together. So I'm putting together an EP, um, that should be ready in the next 2 weeks, and then I'll start planning a rollout for a single and a rollout for the actual project. And I think it's a different, it's the same raw, emotional, passionate style that people know me for, but it's like it has some acoustic vibes, it has some soulful, some like honest, and I think it's going to connect, especially with how 2020 was and how it's been so far.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, I'm not afraid to be vulnerable in my music, because I think as humans we all deal with similar stuff. So
Yeah, and I'm sure, Karim, that when you do release the music, other musicians, and not just musicians, listeners, like myself, will relate to what you're actually saying, the words you're actually telling, because there is a lot of people, and you're not
yeah,
alone. You really are not alone. There's a lot of people who are really struggling with their mental health at the moment, and that's across the world, and it's
yeah,
because you're openly talking about it, and for me, that I feel that's the best thing. It takes great courage to reach out and say, look, I need help. But by doing that, as you say, you can move forward. And I know that you live alone, Grim, but you've got a family, support network, haven't you? And you've got friends that are around there supporting you. And has that been important to you as well?
yeah. I mean, definitely this low point taught me that, like, you have to set boundaries, and then you have to just analyze your life and who you allow in it, and what they bring to the table. It's like, you are who you surround yourself with, and so you need to surround yourself with genuine people, good people, people that love you and care for you and want to see you do well, regardless of what they get out of it and stuff. And so I've had to kind of just trim my life of certain people, and set boundaries. And that's the hardest part. Like, I think what I struggle with is setting boundaries, and choosing myself, and not feeling guilty for it. That's something I'm still working on, but there's power in that, and you'll just kind of see your life become lighter, if that makes any sense.
Yes, I do. I
um
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
because life gets heavy. So
Oh, it
you
does.
know
It absolutely does. I mean, and how do you feel being in Nashville, Karim? Is that? Do you feel that you're going to stay there? Do you feel that this is the place for you?
um Nashville, when it's open and it's not a pandemic, is there's so much going on and so many
Yes.
resources. And, like, yeah, I'm a hip hop artist, but there's a hip hop scene, and there's you know resources and labels, and music people that look at Nashville as like a hub. Like, hip hop wise, Atlanta and New York, and maybe even LA is known for being hip hop hubs. But I mean, there's a lot of artists, and there's a lot of powers that may be in Nashville. So, and especially with the internet age, you could be
Yes.
anywhere, and, and,
You're in
and
the
pop
world,
off. So
really.
yeah, so it's just about connecting with amazing people like you,
Yeah.
and just, because honestly, and I've been told this, like, my style and my story and who I am, there's something there, and
Oh,
it might not necessarily pop off in Nashville, and that's okay. Like, people might see this recording or hear my music, and next thing I know, I have a big fan base in the UK or wherever the audience is, and I blow up there first, and then it carries, catches a flame. And so it's like, I don't have my heart set on blowing up in Nashville, because it's likely not going to be Nashville that recognizes me for the artist I am, and
well, it
that's
was
okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was one of the things, you wanted to come to the UK because you felt, that was where your music would be heard. And, we love hip hop over here.
Yeah.
And we have obviously a massive music scene over here as well. And it would be really interesting to see when you come over, the reaction that you get from the audience. I think they're going to love you because, you're very true. The words that you sing in your songs, Karim, are very very true and very, very poignant, and they really touch you. They really do. They really
Thank you.
do. And there's just
Oh,
something about you that you put, or you can almost feel all of you are in your songs. And I know that's the way that that you want to be. And I'm
yes.
sure that, moving forward out of this dreadful time we're all in, we're just gonna, you're just gonna have shows booked like you would never imagine, Karim. You won't have any more days left. You have to
I
pick up this work and do it.
oh,
But there's a lot of musicians who are like you, and have 2 jobs, 3 jobs because of their passion for music.
oh yeah. I mean, if you get into music for just money or for whatever, then you're gonna get right
Yeah,
back out of it. I think the fact that I'm so passionate about it. I mean, I'm not at a stage where I'm really making money. So if
yeah,
that was the goal, then I would have quit a long time ago. But like I said, there's a feeling and fulfillment I get from writing songs or from messages that I get, or being on stage. Like I've never felt anything in my life that's made me feel like I feel on stage, and you can just feel the energy. And
yeah,
even in that video I sent you from the cell phone that somebody took, where
yes,
I'm performing, and you see the, like, I can feel everybody's energy,
yeah,
and there's just no feeling like it. And the day that I can just quit my job and
yeah.
travel the world and connect with people and make music is probably going to be one of the happiest days of my life. And
It won't
I'm
be long
pushing
for him. It won't be long.
I'm pushing for it. I feel it. I feel it coming. So God
I just
willing.
feel that this is. I think next year is going to be a really fantastic year for all musicians.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it to a lot of my guests, and most of them are feeling the same, because we're all desperately missing it, and we just want to support musicians, and because you're very creative creatures, by nature.
Yeah.
Of course you are. That's what you do, and you're very extrovert creatures on stage. So
Yeah.
are you missing that, that going on stage and, interacting with your audience, Karim?
So much, so
Yeah,
much. Like I mean, even being in the studio or writing or being around friends, like that's all fun, but the feeling of being on stage, and it's almost euphoric. I can't really explain it. It kind of, I get cheesy at some point, like,
yeah,
but I love it so much. And it's crazy because until I found music and I found the stage, it's like I knew something was missing. And so, you know, that there's nothing that makes me feel that way
and
except that.
when did you first perform, Karim? When was your first performance?
Oh, I'm coming up on the 10-year mark now.
Wow.
In 2011, I think, like fall 2011 was the first time I ever performed. And what's crazy is that one show kind of kick-started a lot of big shows. My second show was opening for, you know, as an opener for, one of the, some of the biggest artists that were coming to the area that were signed to labels. So,
Yeah,
the guy that owned the club, he was like, that was your first time performing? He's like, you just started as an artist? I'm like, yeah. And to see where I am now and to see the kind of music I'm making, I'm kind of always striving for better and for,
yeah.
bigger. So, yeah.
And do you think Nashville's going to change? Because obviously it's known for, it's a music city. That's how it's known.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of visiting it many times, and it's an absolutely gorgeous place to be. Do you feel it's going to change now, though, after the pandemic, Corinne?
It's hard to tell because, there there's no shows, and we don't have a date. Every time they open up or they set something, and it skyrockets again. And people, especially in this area, are stubborn, so they're not helping the situation. So I don't know. I hope, you know I'm excited for the day that comes back when I can do shows and
Yes.
perform, and
Yeah.
um but
So
yeah,
yeah, sorry.
Nashville's.
Tell us about what you've been doing in the studio, because you've got your own studio at home, which must have
Yeah.
been an absolute blessing during lockdown, of course. So
Yeah.
tell us what you've been up to, Karim.
Yeah, so I mean, I made the decision to put together a little home studio just so I can stay creative. Um, I still need some tweaking, but it's at least enough to stay creative. But when the pandemic first started, I was, you know, my buddy Chris, who's also one of my engineers and producers, I would just go to his house and I would grab an instrumental that was like a well-known song, hip hop song, and I would rap my own verse on it, and we would put a cell phone video of me rapping it, and I would just put one out every week for like 6 or 7 weeks and call it the Karim mix. Just my way to my wordplay on my name, and
Yeah.
just a way to stay creative. And I did, each one was a different type of beat. I even did a rock one. I did like a soul one, like just to show my versatility, and it kind of keeps my creative brain going. So I did that for, a month or two, just to kind of stay consistent. And it's hard to stay creative and stay motivated and passionate whenever everything's really shut down.
Yeah. I can imagine.
So I learned that, if I have a week or two or whatever time where I'm not writing or I'm not doing anything creative, and that's okay, because at the end of the day I have to make sure I'm good so I can make music.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of been trial and error and
Yeah,
figuring it out.
I can imagine. But as you said, you've been very positive about it, and you've been, working in the studio on lots of different things. So that's a positive thing. So when you do come to the UK, which you will be coming,
Yes,
you'll
manifest.
have lots of versatility, within your set. And again, is there anybody you could see yourself perhaps collaborating with, Karim? Because I know you've opened for some very good artists. Is there anybody
Yeah.
you'd like to collaborate with?
Um, there's a lot. I mean, pipe dream, of course, like Jay-Z or Nas. Big J. Cole fan. Common. um, Rihanna. I actually, one of the producers I work with, he produced a song on my project On My Way that's on Spotify and Apple and everything. So if you type in Kareem, Karim, On My Way, you'll find it. I'm like, it's a cartoon of me. But anyway, the first song on there, the producer actually was Rihanna's keyboard player
Oh,
and
fantastic.
Eminem's keyboard player. So, we met at a show and we just vibed. His name's Oneno.
Yeah.
And we have a new song on the way as well on my new project that's coming. Um, Sorry, I kind of bunny trails.
No, that's all right. That's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah. And I mean, after this interview, we're going to be actually hearing two of your songs, which,
yeah,
that's great. So, they get to do it. And again, it'd be so lovely for when, as you say, when you are back on the circuit and, you do videos, and then, you can just show people your art. And
yeah.
what's it like for the rest of the musicians? Have you been in contact with other musicians, whilst you've been in lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle for everybody. There was things that I had bubbling, the tour with you guys and
Yes.
some people in the industry that, I've been in contact with,
Yeah.
and even them, they were like, the whole industry is just shut down. There's
Mm.
nothing really moving, nothing happening, and artists, we eat, the people that even hire them, it's merch sales and touring. That's where the money comes from. So a lot of people have been struggling financially and emotionally, and luckily I still have my day job, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still able to pay bills and stuff. But
Yeah.
my artist friends that this is what they depend on, really are just in a stuck pattern.
Yeah.
They're sinking, getting songs on shows and movies and stuff, and that's really it.
Yes. I mean, it's as you say, it's going. I think it's going to be difficult. We can't pretend it's not going to be. But
Yeah,
when we come out of it, I think it's going to be incredibly positive. And I think that we will get through it, and we are getting through it. The
yeah,
vaccination is there now. So once we start that process, people will be allowed to travel. I mean, is there any
yeah.
word on that, Karim? Are you going to have a vaccination before you be allowed to come to the UK? Do you know? Has there been any kind of
I I mean rumors, but the internet is full of them, so you never really
all
know.
of those? Yeah, don't
Um,
listen to those. That's
yeah, so I'm hoping, no matter what you feel about the vaccinations, I think the fact that they're there now, at least there's a possible solution.
yes,
I have a lot of doctor and nurse friends, and
yes,
they all have been posting and debunking a lot of the rumors. Um, at least when it's available to the public, there'll be a choice whether you're anti-vaccination or you want it. And I think, I've read where it's going to be for a lot of countries are required, So, I mean, if you want to travel, you might have to get it anyway.
I,
So,
to be honest, Karim, there's been a lot of talk about it over here, and I'd be very surprised if we're allowed to travel unless we have had the vaccine. You know, and
yeah,
regardless of whether you want it or whether you know agree with it, you know, to be able to travel, move around, I think it's probably a given that we're going to have it. And I mean, it's, you know, as you say, it's going to put extra pressure on some people who may be anti-vaccinations or whatever, but you know, we need to keep the creativity, we need to keep the music going, you know.
yeah,
That's I think that's going to be really important.
yeah. I mean, it's a necessary thing. I think, I'm no expert. Just, regular average Joe opinion. I think, I'm not a fan of shots, but if I have to, you
Yeah.
know, to go tour and see your face,
Yes.
if I have to take a vaccination, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think, a lot of research has been done, and
Yeah.
it's, the people on the front lines that have been risking their life this whole
Yeah.
time, they're taking it, and so at least, we
Yeah.
see more effect of what it does. So
Yeah.
hopefully it gives peace of mind.
The take up's been
So
really good over here. Obviously, there's, you know, there's two vaccinations. So, you know, there's the one
mm,
that we've made in Oxford, and obviously there's the Pfizer vaccination as well.
yeah.
What's the sort of thought process on that over there in the States, Karim? Is there a lot of people who just antivirus, you know,
It's
anti-vaccination? Sorry.
I mean it's 50-50,
Yeah.
the same people that are anti-masks,
Yeah.
or it's the
Yeah.
same kind of crowd.
Yeah.
So I mean I get the skepticism. That's a
Yeah.
word right there. I get it,
Yeah.
because you don't want to trust every
Well,
single
yeah,
thing.
it's as you say though, it's new, and I think that's where sometimes social media can go overboard because there's so much information and so much
Yeah.
incorrect information. You know,
Yeah.
for me personally, I would be going by the nurses and the doctors and the scientists.
Oh
That's it.
yeah, I got
You know,
right.
if they're
Yeah.
saying it's okay, then you know, for me, you know, that's okay for me. But Karim,
Yeah.
your songs now, the ones that we're going to play after I finish speaking to you. Now, tell
Mhm.
us about those. So you've got the first one, which is one you did. Was it last year? You did that one?
Yeah, it was on the break of when it
Yeah,
was about to be 2020. So
that's
it
it.
was like it
Tell us
was
the
like
title. Tell us what it's called.
yeah, it's called Something to Feel. And it's part of a project that's already out called On My Way.
Yeah,
Um, streaming everywhere. So if you just type in Kareem On My Way, you'll find it. But it's an upbeat song. It's a feel good song. It's been one of my most popular. But um,
it's a great song.
it's it's actually a song about mental health.
Yes.
um and it's I put how I was going through a stage where I just felt numb. I was going through this life and work and everything, and even back then, and I was like, I just feel like I'm going through the motions. I don't feel anything good, I don't feel anything bad. So I'm like, so the song is like, give me something to feel.
Oh, it's a great
So
song.
it's
It really
it's
is.
an upbeat song, but it's like I want to feel something.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know and I'm a poet, I guess. So a lot of my songs tend to be based around emotions,
Yeah.
good and bad. So yeah, Something to Feel was the single from um, On My Way.
And then what was the next one? Tell us about the next one.
The next one is Chasing a Feeling, so it's all about feelings over
It's all
here.
about feelings. That's
um,
okay, Grim. That's
but
good.
but yeah, that one was just kind of a loosey. Like I heard the beat and I just wrote to it, and I was like, I want something fun, feel good, bop in your head. And this one is not as mental health based, but it's kind of just like chasing a feeling, whatever makes you feel alive, or makes you feel good, or whatever in life, whether it's music or your family or whatever, chasing that feeling. Um, that
Do you
may,
think, Corinne, because of the pandemic, people actually now are going to do just that? You know,
yeah,
wherever they said, you know, oh, I'm going to wait a couple of years before I do this, you know, be it travel or whatever it is they wanted to do.
I
Do
hope
you
so.
feel now the pandemic's kind of going to be changing people's outlook on life?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. For the ones that want it, you got to make a decision.
Mm,
Like I said, like with my stuff, I made a decision. I'm like, okay, what I don't like this anxiety and depression,
yeah.
but I'm not gonna lay down and sulk in it. So I mean, not to just keep going back to that, but I'm like, you got
No.
to make a decision. I think, you know, if you want better for yourself, if you want better for your life, if you want more money, if you want better for your career, if you want better for, you know, the person that you love, you know, you have to manifest it. You know, it's not going to just come to you. You have to decide, this is what I want, and speak it into existence and claim it.
Mm.
And, you know, take the steps. And, you know, even on my worst days, if all I can do is stand up, then I'm proud of myself. And on the good days, I'm taking a step forward. Or how they I wrote a song called Keep Swimming, which is going to be on the new project. I was watching Finding Nemo that day.
Yeah.
But you know, you just got to keep swimming. And
No,
it's not, you know, sunshines and rainbows and dandelions. It's a dark,
yeah.
messed up journey. But you know, as long as you have hope and you have resilience, and you know, even on the days where your tears are coming down, that you know it's got to be better, it will be better. I mean, that's all you can do. You know, we're all human. You know, it's the art of being human. Is, you know, we're not always going to be happy,
No,
and you're sad, but it makes you appreciate when you're happy. So I
absolutely.
mean, I don't have it figured out, but I'm, you know, I'm working on it. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, very wise words, Karim. Very wise words. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Monica,
Really,
pleasure's all mine. It's
really
always
pleasure
good
to
to
speak
see
to you.
you and
So
talk
good to
to you.
see you. And you know,
Thank you.
once you've got on the move again and you're out and about, we'll have you back on the show. And then
Yes.
we can have a chat about any new projects that you'll be doing. But it sounds like there's an awful lot in the pipeline, so lots to be
Yeah.
positive for, which I'm really grateful. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. And we're going to have the
Thank you.
pleasure now of watching your 2 videos. And
Thank you so
and as I
much.
say, we'll see you very soon.
Can't wait. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
Karim.
Monica.
And
Appreciate
thank
you.
you very much for watching me tonight. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care for now. Bye bye.